Yo, with Bleach Rebirth of Souls coming out soon, I wanted to cover all the key terminology in a way that's as simple as possible so that even the people who aren't familiar with the anime will understand how the game works. Especially since I've mainly had Dragon Ball content on the channel before. We'll start with gauges and mechanics since that's the most complex, unique, and new concepts to the game, then basic combat controls at the end since that's more simple to understand. So Reishi, this is your health points, HP. In the show, Reishi is the main component of souls and spiritual matter, so that's kinda cool how they made that your HP. Once the gauge hits this bigger bar segment, you reach the now or never state. This occurs when HP is under 30%, where you get stunned and vulnerable to ultimates. The gauge also turns red and the kanji writing turns orange. This number at the top is konpaku. In the anime, it means souls, basically meaning bodies. In this game, these are the amount of lives or stocks you have. This can be treated as rounds that lower once you hit 0% reishi. The amount you lose varies, but once you're out, you're beat up. They're a form of KO. Soul Break occurs when they do hit 0% reishi, and this is when an ultimate auto triggers on your side to take away all the orange stocks of their konpaku. That's why the stocks are different colors. This is an easy way for you to deal damage, but is less effective than manually landing your ultimate before their reishi hits 0%. I keep saying ultimates, but this game calls those Kikon moves. The slow ultimate can be used at any time, but is best and most guaranteed in the 30% now or never state, after guard breaks, and more. Landing it manually instead of the auto time one also takes away the yellow stocks on top of the orange, so that's why those stocks are different colors than the rest of the white ones. Now a clash occurs if you attempt a Kikon ult on an enemy above that 30% mark, or if they manage to block, which is a special animation that returns both parties back to neutral to engage again. Neutral is just this neutral state where neither party has the advantage trying to get a combo in. This step part to initiate your ult is known as Hagugeki, triggering the ult or clash, which can be blocked or hit out of, so you can't randomly throw out ults. Back to HUD elements, the timer you have for a single match is 208 seconds, which can be frozen with reverse gauge that we'll see later. Timeout occurs at 0 seconds, winner is the one with most health as usual. You have a guard gauge that appears under your reishi HP bar to show how long you can continue blocking. This refills passively over time or fully restored with a burst reverse that we'll see. So reverses came up a couple times, but it's a bit complicated. It's the bottom gauge that starts full and restores slowly over time, but it has 3 completely different uses, changing forms depending on the situation, like Roman cancels in Guilty Gear Strive, each having a specific color to know which one is being used. There's Soul Reverse. This is done standing still in neutral, which increases mobility and increases reishi, so health restoration. It is colored white, known as White Reverse. Yellow Reverse is Chain Reverse. When you press reverse while attacking, it extends your combos and pushes your offensive frame advantages. Burst Reverse is blue. This is done when being attacked, which blocks and repels the enemy away while restoring guard gauge. So this is like your get off me tools and combo breakers. All these reverses can pause the timer. A full gauge use can pause it for up to 15 seconds, and every character has slight variations to these reverses. Fighting Spirit Gauge is this meter on the left with a P1 next to it that increases by attacking, get a hit, and losing konpaku. When it's fully filled up and maxed out, it lets you awaken. Awakenings are super cool transformations that every anime has and y'all are familiar with, pretty much changing the character from looks to new mechanics, move stats, and more unique things to the character. This includes your bankais, resurrections, and more. Being an awakening also increases the number of konpaku you can destroy on your opponent's side with your ultimates on hits, getting a whole new type of Kikon ultimate animation that's unique to this new form. Once you awaken, you also enter a buffed up sublimation state where fighting spirit gauge resets to 0 and turns red. Once this new sublimation gauge reaches 100% again, you enter spirit drive state. Spirit drive state turns a flaming resting at 100%, enhancing your abilities and stats. There's also reawakenings, which is a super rare second transformation you get by filling your fighting spirit gauge again after your first awakening. There are unique conditions to reawaken to get even more abilities, moves, etc., and they did try to balance it out by making those characters a bit weaker at first. It also increases your ultimate's damage and the amount of konpaku stocks you can destroy, since this is like a late game comeback mechanic. It is super unique to the character, and an example of balance is Bankai Ichigo starting with 8 konpaku instead of 9, but having a revive reawaken. Also, when you build fighting spirit gauge while awakened or reawakened in sublimation, you get a stronger Kikon move that we discussed, but getting to this 100% gauge a second time while awakened is known as Kikon channel. Reiatsu is like your ki in Dragon Ball, the character's spiritual pressure and energy which they need for special moves like Gesuga Tensho, and this is shown on that small top bar above a reverse. This increases by landing or getting hit and decreases by using spiritual pressure moves. Spiritual pressure move 1 takes 50, spiritual pressure move 2 takes 100 or Reiatsu. Done with the mechanics and HUD, now it's time for some fighting stuff, starting with movement. Dash is a move that rushes the character towards the opponent, which can be held and cancelled by letting go of the dash button. There are 4-way directional steps in this game, which is a short jump forward, left, right, or backwards, so like your side steps in Tekken. There's follow up Ho-Ho, and Ho-Ho is enhanced movement in the show, like a general technique, and in the game it teleports you to the target to continue combos after launching them. This has a counter mechanic to it. If you use a follow up Ho-Ho at a near precise moment before being hit by an attack, you teleport behind them and start your own combo. So timing a step to their attack actually counters the situation. And there's poking in neutral, which is an FGC term, fighting in term, meaning these long range, low damaging strikes to control distance and preventing enemy approaches, trying to hit confirm to get your own turn and advantage going. Now for throwing hands, there are quick attacks, which are your light attacks, like in Dragon Ball FighterZ pressing square. Step quick attack is an alternative variant of a quick attack done by tilting and pressing the button. Tilting seems to be done with either a stick wobble or a separate input to change the attack type. Flash attacks are your heavy, slower but more powerful. A special flash attack is a tilted version of heavies, which are usually ranged or movement oriented, providing variability. Quick attack combo is your auto combo by pressing quick attack 3 times. No thinking, just mashing, and it has a follow up with quick attack offensive flash step combo that occurs when you press it 4 times. On the 4th time, it teleports behind them for a follow up, and this uses some reverse gauge. From there, you can quick attack Keycone combo by pressing Keycone after the 4 hits, which is the easiest way to combo into your ults. Flash attack combo is the heavy auto combo, pressing it twice, which deals more damage to health and guard. This also has his offensive flash step combo by pressing it again, so pressing it on the 3rd time in that auto combo teleports them behind for a follow-up hit. What's really sick though is that there are mixed attack combos that the game makes clear by combining lights, heavies, tilts at different points, which are unique for every character and different. These are going to be the most optimal manual combos to elevate the game with precise timing and inputs and strings. The game seems to be encouraging this, so FGC combo lovers, I think this game might have a lot more combo depth to it, which we love to see. Signature moves has its own button, and these are unique moves that vary from everyone, either costing nothing or a unique resource. These have huge creativity, which can be used for combos, neutral, movement, etc. depending on your characters. Spiritual pressure move is abbreviated to SP1 and SP2, and these are special, powerful, and unique moves costing 50 and 100 Reiatsu respectively that differ from every character. These can be used in combos or more so in neutral as well. So these last 3 really help to give characters their own unique flavors and approaches to the game. And bro, that's hype, because I don't think we'll see any repeated signature moves or SPs, maybe certain variations, but they'll all be unique and creative to the character. Guard is your attack blocker like in any game, but it's just 1 button, so there's no high, low, or left, right. You just press it and you block everything. Guard break though occurs when you reach 0% of the guard gauge, which stuns them, leaving them open to Keycone ults even if their HP is above 30%, which normally wouldn't really work. Breakers are similar to grabs or grapples in other games. These break through guards but is overpowered by attacks. So even if there's a block button that seems to limit mix-up potential, these mechanics do show me some pressure layers here between guarding, grabbing, blue reverse, on top of your steps, unique tools, which I'm excited to see how they interact with on block, and more. And an example of these unique tools is super armor, which is accessible to some characters that can tank a few hits without being stunned or taking much damage, which is useful for openings and getting your own turns going. And now that we know the terminology, here's how the controls look like on PlayStation. I just want to make a few notes. You're able to move with D-pad like a fighting game for precise movement, as well as the analog, and pressing into the analog gives you that evolution. Square is light attack, triangle is heavy, X is dash, and circle is signature moves. Triggers are your reverses, ultimates, with R1 being blocked. But all of these can be customized like any other fighting game, and this game can be played with arcade stick and leverless too. That covers all the in-game terminology, but there are also archetypes, which are roles or labels to identify characters, their playstyles, and understand what they do. I'll quickly go over them as there are 28 broad categories. There are your typical rushdowns that need to get close to throw hands. Zoners are opposite and controlled from a distance like Uryu with his bow and arrows. This adds on to melee versus ranged types. Speed also matters. There are slow, which has more power and defense in exchange for speed and technique, balanced, and fast, who have less power and defense for their high movement abilities. Now to get more specific to Bleach ROS, augmenters are characters that change drastically when using reverse, giving completely different moves, animations, and being able to swap between different reverse colors quickly and effectively. Gamblers have some RNG mechanics, relying on chance or luck, being unpredictable. Berserkers are rushdowns but enhanced, your Unga Bunga characters. Rampers start off off at a disadvantage but slowly become exponentially more powerful as the match progresses, getting buffs, forms, etc. like Aizen and the fellas with Reawakenings. Stan's character is flipped between different states that have separate movements and properties with different stats. These seem fire. Tricksters are master of fake outs, messing with you and seem to have some mix-up potential. Gauge characters have unique gauges with different rules, uses, and weaknesses. Revivers can revive themselves with the right condition, usually starting with less Honpaku, as well as Reawakeners with 2 awakenings. There's a vampiric archetype that spends HP to boost their power, but they can also restore it with certain moves, mostly being Ukiyo-ra. Giant summoners awaken with a giant, having unique control scheme and camera. Charge characters have attacks that get stronger the longer you charge them, like Stark's Pew Pews. Kidos are this show's version of spells basically, but these characters focus on Kidos in their gameplay, which vary on use and ranges. Some characters have insta-kills like Soifone. She's also a reloader that has a fixed amount of resources needing to be replenished, as well as gimmick characters with unique mechanics. They also divide characters in 3 ranges. Short, which covers 1 training stage wet grid square, mid covers 2, long covers 3 or more, with a hybrid range having mixed. Characters fall into multiple of these archetypes of course, and all the characters having different stats as well. There also seems to be input notations already, but I'll go over that in another video. I hope you guys learned a lot from this and are just as hyped for this new FGC edition with one of my favorite shows, Bleach. I always wanted a Bleach fighting game, man, and it being so unique and creative makes it perfect for this type of genre. I hope this game lives up to the hype. Stick around with the channel for more content like this if you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.